Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
As we say, like every morning, and this morning, we're going to be here for you, me, my lovely wife, my hot coffee, and our amazing mood. So, what about today? First of all, today is Tuesday, and I would like to show something which make me to think, and this is this. During I was promoting the next Global Morning community, I get this picture and I said to myself, my God, I was there so many years. But it's not because I knew something new. It's because my mom and my father, they were there. And honestly, when I was Wednesday, I feel very relaxed. I said, my God, it's another 2 days. So after it's coming Saturday, Friday evening, you're going to go for a party. And Saturday morning, you're going to sleep well. And Sunday, you feel kind of depression because next day it's a Monday and you don't know about your boss and your colleagues, which you don't like. You like to change the things. You start to think about changing the things in your life. But then you say, no, it's a recession. I cannot do this. Maybe next time. Oh, my mom and my father, they were always been working. I know my friend, he's tried to open the coffee shop and he get so much money in debt, like 12,000, 50,000, 20,000 euro. Now he is feeling sorry. He's trying to sell his coffee shop, but cannot because it's a recession, the excuses are so many. And you say, okay, I'm going to be on this bike. But during you are riding this bike, or during I was riding this bike, because I was with this bike, I really stop respecting myself. I stopped loving myself, and I didn't have the courage to go and to say, no, man, this is not for me. I deserve something different. And today we're going to talk about what, my love? By the way, guys, today is the birthday of our daughter. It's amazing day for me. I'm so happy. And anyway, we're going to celebrate after. We're going to post the cake in the Facebook.
And today, so we're going to talk also about courage. And we have with us a special guest, Dr. Barbara Schwarck.
Yes.
So, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm in Germany right now, so I'm happy to be with you this morning.
Yes, you mentioned it's very hot there. It's 15 degrees.
I know it's 15 degrees and maybe it gets up to 20 and sunny. And I live in Israel, so it's a nice change because I hear it's super hot in Cyprus and in Israel, and so I'm enjoying the cooler weather.
For those people which they're watching us, just you can say one hello from where you come from. We have lovely friends from Crete. I can't stop thinking about my Crete, my Chania. We have friends from everywhere around the world. So please comment where you come from, say one hello. And if you have questions about today's topics, please don't hesitate to ask the questions.
This is your chance.
Yes.
So, Barbara, today we'll be talking about courage. Can you tell us, according to you, what courage means?
Sure. So it's perfect that you're asking me because you're French, and I've been thinking about this. Courage is really it's a French word, right? Because at the center of the word we have this word heart, and in English and French and German, I didn't check all the other languages, but we're using the same word. So for me, courage is really a form of authenticity. It's to look at your heart and to identify what your heart's desires are, and then you act on them. And acting on them usually means that there's an element of fear that we have to overcome. So it's like this giant opportunity to live outside our comfort zone or take an action that's outside our comfort zone that has some fear or trepidation or worry associated with it, some unknown. And then the act of taking that step is what I would call courage.
Thank you, Barbara. So, how can I actually cultivate this quality?
Barbara, Barbara, can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
You are passing through a lot of difficult moments right now. You say your website was hacked. You are
Mm.
in Germany to heal the relationship with your mom. And there are many things, the bad things, they're not coming on their own. How you have the courage to go all this and not to give up? Because sometimes the people think, my God, she's a coach, she's a perfect, she know everything, blah, blah. Yes, and the shit doesn't happen to you or to other coaches. So can you say how you deal with all this?
Wow, it's a big question. So how do I deal with it? I think I deal with it just like everybody else. I for a long time ago, I decided that I wasn't going to be defined by the negative experiences by my past. And that decision came in an insight seminar. And, we're here to foster, nurture, to create a community around that seminar. So, I took the seminar and I realized that there was more out there for me. And that if I was courageous, if I took a step, that was available to me. So I constantly put myself into this position where I look inside of myself and say, okay, so where am I on the hamster wheel? Where am I like the guy on the bicycle? And I am just going through the steps and something is incongruent and something is not feeling right. Where am I selling out? Where am I tolerating things? So I look and I identify those things because I think that's a process that I will be involved with for the rest of my life. So I looked and I realized that I had some incongruency or some pain or something I didn't feel good about in my relationship with my mother. So for me, that was an opportunity to say, oh, okay, it's time for me to address that and to look at the things that I wanted to clean up. So part of it has to do with the awareness and being present with myself to see and identify where the areas of my life where I'm not fully self-expressed or where I'm selling out or where there's some fear. And the second part is then to act on those and to take next steps. And for me, I know that there's when I live in peace and quiet, and when there's this harmony inside of me, I know that area is complete for me. When I feel edgy or I feel nervous or I feel some pain or some suffering, anything that's not peace and quiet and harmony, I know there's some more work for me to do. And as we grow, we see different things, and we can realize that there are next steps for us to take. So, maybe 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, that wasn't really even bothering me, and because my awareness wasn't, I wasn't aware. I didn't have that same kind of awareness that I have now, and so that I can take it on. Every time that we let go of control and that we move ourselves into that place of where we are either jumping or we're right at the high dive and my toes are sticking out and I'm jumping and I'm taking a step, or I'm flying or doing something that requires me to let go of control. It's an act of courage. So it could be something really small or it could be something really big, but I am constantly moving myself and putting myself in a construct of where I'm challenged. So one of the things I like about being in seminars, it requires me to take on that conversation over and over again. And so that I am willingly say, okay, bring on this conversation, show me where I'm still in my comfort zone and where is my next step. And so that I am in a group with other people supported in that notion to step outside my comfort zone. That was a long answer, but hopefully, that made sense. But it's like over and over embracing that conversation and not to say, oh, I'm finished now. I did my personal growth. I do it once a year and I'm done. And so then I don't have to do it again for the rest of my life. No, it's exposing myself to that conversation and looking intentionally, where's another opportunity for me to take a courageous steps. And sometimes it's saying yes, and sometimes it's saying no. No, thank you. I don't want to participate, or that's not what I want to do with my life anymore.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like you go one day for the gym to the gym, and you say, "My God!" And then you start to watch yourself in the mirror,
Right.
And going to one seminar or having one small kind of program or reading one book and to say I'm very deep in the self development or doesn't it's a lifetime process in my opinion.
That's right. Once you open that door and say, I want to grow, I want to learn, it's a process. It's not an event. So, I share a little bit more with you about my mom. Over the past, a couple of years, I really had this awareness that there were a lot of things that I did in my growing up, or even as an adult, that I no longer feel good about. And I feel that I inflicted some pain on my mom, and I want to clean it up because I realized that that was hard. And sometimes we're so justified, and we think our parents need to endure all the things that we put them through as children. But I'm an adult, and I see things differently now. And maybe because I'm a parent myself, I feel like it's a good opportunity. And my mom is, she doesn't have a lot of energy, and every couple of days I visit her. We do some things, and then my first visit, she said to me, it took me decades to get over the fact that you left. And it was the first time that I heard it, and I think it's the first time that she said it, but it kind of made me realize, wow, she also has taken some courageous steps. And just because I had that intention to clear things up, she, somehow received it, and we're already having a completely different conversation. And for me, it's like, it's beautiful when I can see people come together, especially if it's our parents, and I can take the relationship to a next level. So I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad I that this is one of the focuses that I'm holding for myself, and I'm holding for her.
It's amazing that we contact all the time and we have people like coaches and people which they are self-developing because this is holding us up honestly. My love, you want to continue?
Yes, so you answered already a little bit about how we can cultivate this quality. So you say about taking some small action, some big action. You say also about this connection with ourselves, with our heart. And how can we be more close actually to our heart? How can we hear more this conversation with our heart, this intuition?
So I think one of the things that's important is to create some quiet time where you can actually be with yourself, whether you journal or whether you do some mindfulness or some meditation or spiritual exercises that in the absence of noise. So if I'm constantly running around, and this is what my life used to be like. Actually, I would wake up in the morning, and there would be a million things for me to do, and then I would like go through my day, and at the end of the day I would fall into bed and I was exhausted. And it was a rewarding day in some sense because I got a lot of things accomplished, but I didn't really have the time and the space to be with myself. So about 2 months ago I started a new morning routine, and it was partially because of our morning community of where I take my time. I get up in the morning, I do a little a prayer in the morning, and then I take out my journal and I write down the things that I'm grateful for. And so for me, this is kind of like setting the stage. And then I create some space where I can listen inside of what is it that my heart wants. And I have a lot of question marks right now in my life, and new things that I want to do. And in the past, I would be impatient to say, okay, I already need to know, I need to know, I need to know. And some of those are big questions, and some of those are small questions, like I want to have a new tagline for my business, and I'm creating a new logo. And so I bring more attention to that question. And so I listen and I put it into the silence. So it's all basically the same way of saying, create some space for yourself. Find 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes where you could be alone. maybe with a journal, or maybe with a cup of coffee, or maybe you take a walk in the woods, so that you can listen to that inner voice. And perhaps the first couple of times that you're doing it, it's screaming inside of you and going, ah, and you can't hear anything. But over time, you will find that there's something that your heart has to say. And maybe there's a lot of complaining initially. You are doing this and you're doing this, and why are you dragging me around, and why are you this? And so just be patient and listen to that part of you that's upset and with yourself and maybe frustrated. And then you will hear the heart, and the heart will tell you. It's like your inner master will tell you what it wants, and will point you and give you directions.
Yeah. We have a question from Gidre, and this is the question.
How to overcome fear in speaking some old suppressed stuff up.
Yes. So, a lot of times what's bugging us is that we've created some beliefs from the past that are bubbling up all the time. So there's various techniques that you can do to bring up the old stuff, but eventually it's all a process of letting go. If I am holding my mother to the same standard that I did when I was a child, I'm always going to be disappointed, because it's now 2020 and I moved on. So one of the things that's happening to me as I'm in my hometown here, where I spent the first 20 years of my life, is that I'm walking by places, and I will remember things. And oftentimes I remember the painful things. I remember, when there's a road that I'm driving, or actually I'm biking a lot, this particular spot. And I remember when I was 17 years old, a child ran into my car, and the child ran away, and I never had a chance to check out what happened. And it was always something that was, it bugged me, and I felt bad about it, and I felt guilty about. And so there are other experiences that I had that happened to me. So what I'm doing is I'm blessing myself, and I'm forgiving myself, and I'm immediately moving into a process of forgiving the pain that I perhaps inflicted on somebody, or the pain that I'm experiencing. And so that there's an immediate action. And then I tell myself, let it go, and start remembering things that, happy things that happened to you, and good things that happened to you. So, Gidri, there's an immediate opportunity for you that when that comes up, that you can move yourself into forgiveness. And then you can actively say to yourself, I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. And I'm creating an empty spot inside of myself. And into that empty space inside of my consciousness, I am placing love, light, appreciation, loving myself, and whatever it is that you want to place into that. And so that it's almost like a ritual that you do, that when you remember something negative, a painful thing, you move yourself into forgiveness, and you create an empty spot, and you place something new inside of that. I think over the couple of months that we had the morning community, we also talked about freeform writing, and that I move myself into this action of writing things down. I'm writing the negative things down, and I burn it immediately after I write it, and I don't reread it. I write it, I get it out of my system, and I destroy that piece of paper that I created. And so there's many, many different ways of clearing, and I want to be committed to that, and so that I can let go. I don't want to walk around with all that stuff that happened to me. Those are things that happened, and I learned from them, and they had a purpose, and I'm moving on.
Yeah, before it was not easy for me to forgive, and actually this is a lot of huge weight in yourself, holding it, and holding yourself basically from the happiness and from being open to the other people.
That's right. It's hard. I had a very, very traumatic childhood, with a lot of, and my response to that childhood was I was depressed. I had a lot of anxiety, because that's how I cope with it. So I'm not saying it lightly, ha ha ha, go and forgive. I know it's challenging, but in the end, there's a commitment. It's always about making a commitment that you want to experience something different, that you want to experience yourself in that expanded self, and connect to that, those childlike qualities that we all have. And the child is happy, and the child is joyous. Today's Julia's birthday, so when your child is happy, it's like, the child expresses herself or himself completely different. And we all have that in ourselves just as much as we have the anxious, depressed, the sad part. So it's like, I need to commit. I need to commit. And then maybe I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I committed that I want something different. And then you will be surprised how, the world, the universe will support you in different ways. And so be open to that. And maybe, Gidri, the courageous way for you, is to say, yes, I want that. I want to have an expanded, happy, joyous life. And I'm going to say goodbye, to the past. And I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on.
Thank you.
So you were mentioning about the child, and we can see how the children are so courageous, So how do we lose this quality? And is inner child work can help us to come back to this quality?
Yes. How do we lose the quality? So remember when Julia was learning how to walk, and all you did was saying, "Oh, you can do it, you can do it, try it again," and you supported her, right? You were so excited when she would take her steps. And so that's a perfect, example and an opportunity to remind ourselves that it's very, very, important that we encourage ourselves all the time. Look, and even encourage, where does that word come? It comes from courage. So it's like I'm telling myself all the time, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And when I fall into my little hole, and where I am like, oh my God, my website has a virus now, and what am I going to do? And I remind myself, okay, so I give myself 5 minutes to be in the hole, and then I say, no, I affirm the positive and the things that I want. So lots of encouragement, lots of positivity. How do we lose it? We listen to, we grow up, and we start to surround ourselves with fear, and we started to surround ourselves with, we got to be careful, and we buy into, those other beliefs that are presented to us. We buy into them, we take them on, because our parents learned those beliefs from their parents. And there's research out there that tells us that the beliefs and the trauma and the negativity, are being passed on at least by 2 generations. And so it's like it gets passed on. And all of my parents were born in the beginning, or slightly before the war, and they were conditioned, during World War II. And so you can imagine there was a lot of trauma. There was a lot of hold on, because if you don't hold on to things, you won't have anything, and so a lot of fears. So, we need to be conscious of those, and we need to expose those and put them outside of ourselves, and then decide, is that how I want to live my life, or I want to live my life, along positivity. And so inner child work is extremely important, because what the inner child work allows you to do is there's 2 things. One is you get to expose the beliefs that are running your life, and you can replace them, and you can talk to that inner child and heal her and remind her or him, that there are different ways that you can live your life by, and you as the adult serve as the parent. And so, and inside we do in the child work, we get to kind of, present a different reality to our inner child, and we can present to our child hope, and excitement and love, and the things that perk up the inner child.
Thank you, Barbara.
We have very interesting question, and for those who doesn't know, when we are in the belly, because as I said, today is the birthday of our daughter, as as we are in the belly of our mothers, the first it's created the heart, and then it's created the brain. The brain, the heart is sending much more signals to the brain than the brain to the heart. My love?
Yeah, so knowing that the heart is actually sending more signal to the brain than the brain to the heart, how is it that most of the time our brain win?
Um, okay, so this is a big question. So I think it really depends on what stage, how old you are. So when we're smaller, I think let's say the heart wins, because when you watch your child, it's much more about feelings and and the emotions. So if we say the heart is the emotion, it's all about the emotion. As we get older, I think we tell ourselves stories, and we become more rational. And we tell ourselves the story that it's more important to be rational. Those are our beliefs, and we start to live our lives according to our beliefs. And the beliefs always have language associated with it. So the heart doesn't have words and language associated with. The heart functions completely different. And as the brain gets developed, we overemphasize our brain in our society. For the most part, especially Western society, the brain gets more emphasis is placed on our intellect, and we because we think and we have language and we need all those things to be functioning our neocortex. And so the mistake that we're making is that we think that our neocortex can overwhelm and overrun and overpower our heart, or the subconscious and unconscious part of our mind. So, but we know it's not true, because if that was so, if it was really, really, really true that the brain would be running the world, we would know that there would be no hunger, we would have no wars, we would have none of this, the pain and suffering that is caused by the brain, right? We would be living in harmony, because that's logic. And so there's this fallacy of thinking that our brain is dominating us, when we really know it's still the heart. But what we haven't learned is how to use all parts of the brain in a balanced and alignment, and so that we can move ourselves forward. Right now, we are kind of at war with our brain and our heart and our unconscious and our subconscious. They all kind of don't work together well, which is why we are often living in some sort of turmoil. Once we can have them all in alignment, the your neocortex, the emotional part of the brain, the limbic and the reptilian, the unconscious are part of the brain, everything is kind of like working together well, then you actually have the perfect scenario, and you will see that you're moving yourself forward and living in harmony and with yourself. So I don't know that the brain is always this winning. I think it's much more that there's conflict between all those parts, and that we're living in the fallacy of that we assign too much credit to our brain.
Actually, the brain is like mother-in-law, yes? Only
The
blah,
brain,
blah, 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 blah.
the brain is not. The brain is always going, because the brain is always analyzing. Okay, why is it always analyzing? It's always analyzing because we're really structured for survival. So we're constantly looking to survive. And in the olden days, what would we do? If we were hungry, we would go out and hunt, and we would go and bring some food, and then everything would be good. One of the things that we also don't take into consideration, that it's safer for us to hold on to things than to get something new. So a lot of research has been done with the brain, of where um, the brain shows that it's better to hold on to the weevily peanuts, or to the little things that we have, than let go. So that's another element about courage. So why is it so difficult to do an act of courage? Because our brain shows us, no, hold on to the things that you have, because you don't know what's out there. You might get killed. So it made sense for the cavemen, because it was dangerous to go out and hunt, because there were lions and wolves and tigers, and the tigers and wolves would kill us. But we're living in 2020, and so we kind of need to update ourselves and say, hey, Maybe your subconscious is telling you that it's dangerous, but it's not dangerous. And so you want to, again, it's like where the inner child or the inner work comes in to remind yourself, it's not the cave. There are no lions out there. It's perfectly safe to embrace and to do something new.
Exactly. We have another questions, but before to continue, we want to put something quickly, and we're coming back.
So,
Yeah.
Barbara, so now we saw this video. So it's all about our next morning community, 40 days, every morning, 8 o'clock with different coaches. It's going to be more about business also. So the question is, how do you think this can help people to get more courageous with this morning community?
Okay, so let's start at the basic. I think it's an opportunity for people to take a courageous step to sign up, because it may be something that they didn't know about, or it's a little bit of losing control. So it's like I'm going to encourage all of you who are watching and streaming and watching it later and replay, take a courageous step and sign up and see what it's all about. You don't need to understand it all. How can it help you to be more courageous? First of all, there's going to be a lot of information and a lot of inspiration that is going to come your way. And for all of us who are participating in the community, for us coaches, so it doesn't really matter what seat you have, whether you're a participant or whether you're one of the coaches. So a lot of information, a lot of inspiration, and your life is going to change. So wherever you are, whether you are struggling with your business, or whether you are struggling in your relationship, or whether you are thinking about what's my next step, the global morning community will inspire you and will give you the clarity and some tools to help you to get there from A to B. So if you're like me and you're very linear and you say on day one, this is what I want to accomplish, the morning community will help you to accomplish those things in 40 days. If you are somebody that is interested in being inspired and learn new things every day, then that's what it's going to do. If you want to meet people from all over the globe, you'll have an opportunity to do that. If you want to use it as a network, you can do that. So it's an opportunity for something to shift in your life. And I don't understand really why not millions of people are going to take this opportunity to sign up, because it's an incredible lineup. I'm excited. I know most of the coaches, but there are some new people that are going to participate. And so it's one of the things just to say yes to.
And it's also about growing muscles, right? Because it's like changing our habits every morning to work on something and to do it again and again. This is also part of getting more courageous, creating new habits, right?
Right. It's building a muscle. It's looking at things differently.
Yeah.
It's letting go of things. It's changing your beliefs. It's awareness. It's all of those things. It's an opportunity to grow. It's from the inside out, and it's done in a gentle, loving way, and it's done repetitiously because we know from research that when we really want to change and grow and change our habits, it's important that we do it for at least 32 days in a row.
That's why we created for 40 days, guys, and it's gonna be every day. Bam, 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 bam.
That's right. So, yeah,
I love
it's
you have more
exciting.
questions. You have more questions? You always have questions.
Yeah. Let me ask you another question. So, the first time I talk front of 300 people, it was in my first Insight seminar. And I first felt like I was weak because I was very emotional and because for me, the fear of public speaking was so strong that I couldn't even articulate anything. And but finally I overcome it, and people respond by telling me how strong. And the question is, does it take courage to be vulnerable?
Yes, it does. It does take courage to be vulnerable, because being vulnerable, we have this image of vulnerability as something that's bad, or that we appear weak. And really, if you look at vulnerability just means you're open and you're allowing people to see who you are. And so we are still taught that we want to protect ourselves. Don't let people see your weaknesses, because then they can kill you and then they can take you down. And in negotiations, we are taught to have a stone face and not smile, and all those things. So yes, it takes courage to be vulnerable, because courage is always overcoming a fear. And in the moment that you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you overcome a fear of being hurt. You overcome a fear of being seen, appearing weak, all those kind of things. So yes, 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 yes. And I want to leave people with a challenge today. So I am going to, and I run a 13-week coaching group. It's called What's Next. And right now we're on the subject of courage. And this week the homework was for everybody to do something courageous. And so I'm going to leave all of you with a challenge. And I want you to do something courageous. And the courageous act could be something that's challenging for you on the physical level, on the emotional level, on the mental level, on the spiritual level. And it doesn't have to be something huge. So think about, what is it that you could do today that is courageous, and then do it. And then I would like you to post in the chat, in the morning community, what it is that you did that was courageous and how it made you feel. So that's my challenge to you today. And I am going to tell you what I'm going to do today. I'm going to tell my mom that I love her, which is a very courageous thing for me to do, because it's not something that we do in the German culture. So that is my challenge that I put on myself, and I will tell you, I will put in the chat.
Yes, please do it.
How I did it.
I think you will surprise her.
Yeah, I will surprise her.
She will
And,
say, but please, if she doesn't react, tell her 2 times. Maybe she will not hear this.
It doesn't really. Here's the thing: it's not important how my mom reacts, because the courageous thing is something that we do for ourselves. And so, yes, there might be benefit on the other end. And I'm spontaneously, calling myself and challenging myself. It's not something I planned, but that's what I'm going to do today. And so what are you going to do? What are you guys going to do? What courageous thing are you guys going to do?
You remind me something. When I said the last time to my mom, I love you, she said, what happened? I said, nothing happened. I just say, I love you. And she feel kind of uncomfortable, you know. We forget to say to our parents that we love them.
Yeah, we do, and I don't know anything about Bulgaria, but in Germany, it's not something that you say. And I hadn't seen my mom in like in 8 months, and I wanted to give her a hug, and she's like, "No, no hugs, Corona, no hugs." And I immediately went a little bit into that child part. It's like, oh, I was
Yeah, yeah.
rejected because it feels a little bit that way, and I'm like, no, no, it's okay. So I'm going to shower her with love, tell her I love her, and Clementine, what are you going to do?
She will make me massage.
No.
My love, this is very courageous thing.
Yes, it is.
I'm trying, no success.
Okay. Two things actually. I am already planned to make an important call.
Okay, yay.
Yeah, but this was already planned. So
Okay.
another thing I can do is I am now what? No, I am now part of a group, and they are proposing to make some talk. So I would say I will introduce myself, and I will say I'll make a talk.
Yay, that's fantastic.
Bravo,
Okay,
I will keep you accountable.
Casimir, you didn't really say what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I have no idea, honestly.
Come on. All right, come up with it.
I will, but not. I will do something, maybe stupid, maybe crazy, but anyway, I'm not gonna listen to the brain because the brain definitely will stop me. I will just go for something. Yeah.
But really, really, I want you to take a look inside and what something that's really courageous for you. Okay, not something funny, not something crazy, but something that would be an act of showing your courage in a deep and meaningful way for you.
Okay, I think I know what to do.
Good.
Tell us.
Yes.
Tell us.
You do. I think I will say to my mama again that I love her because I didn't tell her for a long time.
Fantastic.
And maybe she will say again what is the problem, but it's okay.
It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter because it's like that's how they're wired. So
Yeah.
for those of you who need an idea, if there's a person in your life that you've been wanting to tell them that you love them, maybe this is your courageous opportunity, because certainly it's great if we share how much we love with people.
And I'm sick and tired of these kind of things. Hey, man, you don't have to cry. Man, I cry a lot, okay? I cry in the seminars, and the last time I cried, it was 2 days ago in the evening. I watched the movie called, with Russell Crowe, Daughters and Fathers. If you want to watch the movie, it's amazing. Don't stop your tears because it's a very powerful movie, okay? So if you want to watch, if you want to cry, it's there, your tears, it's your experience, it's your life. So actually, the strong people, they cry, okay? The weak people, they hide themselves. Just go and express yourself in life. It's your life. My love, don't smile like you already make me massage. By the way, she is spa therapist, but never to me.
Listen, I think maybe a courageous thing for you to do would be to give her a massage.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think it's time to close.
I think as an extra added benefit, I think it would be good for you to give her a massage.
Yeah, the women always support against the men. Anyway, I'm not gonna win this game.
No, you're not gonna win because today is the day that she brought your child into the world, which was a courageous act. So
you are right. I will make massage to Julia.
okay, so all of you sign up for the morning community, join us. We want you to be part of it, and do something courageous.
Yes, and don't stop recommending to your friends. Global Morning Community. So we finished today. We wish you an amazing day. Enjoy your coffee. Enjoy your coffee message if you have around you.
On Thursday, we are with?
No, tomorrow we are with a friend of ours, Steve, who took to Global Morning Communities, but his way to self-development started a long time ago. And basically he's going to say how the self-development helped him in his life.
Perfect. Steve Church, right?
Yes, he's amazing guy. Amazing. He always drive me crazy with the pictures of the pancakes, but so Clementine pressed something and we went out and that,
That's all good. This is what the fun is all about. So here we are back. This was the moment of silence that people have been wanting. Okay, you guys.
okay, this one guy said, one girl, man, I don't know, I can see. Thank you, Barbara. I've just told my colleagues, oh, very quick. Bravo. This is action taken. This is the way it needs to be. Yes, amazing. Bravo. Okay, we finish for today. We love you.
We love you
leave
too.
And we're going to put, guys, I love this video. Sorry, I'm going to leave it again. Bye.